Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And I've got to be honest with this one. I had to read the headline twice. It was, what? Seriously. If anything's going to screw with your mind, I couldn't believe it. And to be honest, I should have, because it's left. It's the left. It's the Socialists. But of course it's the Socialists. It's always the Socialists. Because they're mental. That's the only explanation. These people don't live in the real world. I'm going to show you this article, and you won't believe it either. So here goes. Okay, so here we go, and honestly, I could not believe this. This is the headline. Anyway, London Council claimed 3-month-old babies are racially biased. They're 3 months old. They're not racially biased. The only thing that concerns them is mother's left nipple. For heaven's sake. A council in London previously claimed that babies as young as 3 months old are racially biased, a report has uncovered. And a lot of old crap it is, and I bet you it was written by racists. We shall see. Islington Council in London, but of course it is. It's always Islington Council, except when it's Tower Hamlets. Has in the past published claims that babies as young as 3 months old can show racial bias, demanding that extremely young children should be talked to about the issue of race. 3-year-old, extremely young children. They're talking 3-month-old children. What are you going to do? Stand there, wag a finger, explain the difference between black and white as they look around their family because they've never been out of their family. They're 3 months old. Idiots. Actually worse, they're dangerous idiots. Anyway, the post was recently uncovered by reporters at The Telegraph after the paper previously found that a number of councils across the United Kingdom had hired the services of a Maoist Anti-Whiteness organisation for the purpose of giving nursery staff racial awareness training. Maoist and anti-white. So dangerous fanatics, extremists and racists are being employed at public expense to tell people how bad white people are. I hope this is being investigated because this is racism in its purest form. According to a report published on Saturday, one of the councils to avail itself of the diversity training services provided by the so-called Black Nursery Manager consultancy also previously claimed that babies as young as 3 months old could be racially biased towards their own carers. Appearing in a post originally uploaded by an account associated with Islington Council in 2021, so right at the height of the coof, when children weren't mixing and anyone who was born wouldn't have seen anyone outside of their family, and therefore people who looked just like them. White children, anyway, this is saying it. White children are strongly biased in favour of whiteness. I suppose in the same way as Asian children are strongly biased in favour of Asianity, if that's the word, and that black children are strongly favoured, it's biased towards blackness. Kalahari Bush people kind of like Kalahari Bush people, Eskimos like Eskimos. It's unbelievable. Fundamentally, they said, many of the studies presented in support of these sorts of ideas about children and race simply conflate acceptance of one group with rejection of another. That's right. What this is the wag a finger at white people because white people are evil. And everything white people do is evil, and it's divisive, it splits societies, and it's wrong. Because if white people are evil and everything they've done is evil, why do the rest of the world always use things that white people make? Advanced medicines, electronics, the internet, radio, television, the internal combustion engine, trains. The list is that long. If these people were so anti-white, they'd give up all that technology and go back to the old school technology of their forefathers. But no, they ain't going to do that, are they? Even though it's evil, we're going to use it. Load of crap. No more advanced medicine for you then. Anyway, this is from Adrian Hart, said, fundamentally, many of the studies presented in support of these ideas about children and race simply conflate acceptance of one group with rejection of another, which we've just said. Children's choices in relation to things like dolls or toy preference in artificial experimental conditions offer no indication of whether the child takes account of race in everyday social interactions, he continued. Parents and educators and policymakers in local and central government alike cannot take claims like these at face value. Well, of course not, especially when these claims are made by a Maoist Anti-White Group. This needs investigating. People who have paid public money for this need to be investigated, and that money needs to come back into the public purse from those people's own pockets. The Telegraph's discovery comes shortly after the paper found that a significant number of local councils had hired an organisation pushing controversial critical race theory, i.e. racism, anti-white racism. And they were putting these ideas to train nursery staff in their regions because they want in with the children again. I keep going. A lot of my videos, I keep saying, it's funny how the left wants to get in with the children. They want your children. Children, children, children. They're fixated with children. They need to be on a register. People on the left have this child fixation. It's children and babies all the way with them. And it makes you wonder why, doesn't it? And I think they need to be on that register. Every single one of them. Slammed as producing very Maoist material by one commentator, a number of MPs have since reportedly got in contact with the publication to say that that kind of training provided by the organisation must now be investigated as the most poisonous and divisive kind of dogma. It is toxic, it is cancerous, and it will cause division, and it will cause more and more racism, anti-white racism, but also any existing racism on the white side will be exacerbated. The problems you have when you start down a line like this is that you force people to the extremes. And where 95% of people will happily live in the middle, and you get your extremists on that side, your extremists on that side. This kind of action, it makes the extremes magnetic. And more and more people will pull to either one side or the other. And you then have a very diverse population. And that is a bad thing, and that is a dangerous thing. He went on, Nadim Sawawi went on, children need to form their own views at the same time as they learn to respect those of others. This was Education Secretary Nadim Sawawi previously stated regarding the topic of ideological influence within the British school system. That is why parents and carers need to be able to trust schools to be totally impartial. You cannot trust schools. State schools, public schools, it doesn't matter. You cannot trust the schools because the schools have been infiltrated with the tendrils of socialism. The teachers are far, far left. They are pushing left dogma all the time. Again, children, they want to be close to the children. It's again with the children, the children, the children. This is the thing with the left. You cannot trust them. They go into these places and they know they need the children. They all get in, you get in, be a teacher, be left, move to the left, be a teacher. Because they want to get into there. Because let's face it, if they can get them young, they'll get them, and they will corrupt those children. They will corrupt those children straight away. And children aren't learning the 3 R's anymore. They are learning critical race theory. They are learning to be self-loathing. They are learning that everything that their ancestors have done is wrong, because that's what's being taught to them. They're not allowed to have pride in their nation. They're not allowed to have pride in their history. No, everything we've done is wrong with these sick, left-wing, dangerous people. And you cannot trust the schools. You cannot trust these people. If you want to trust, if you want to trust anyone to look after your children and raise your children and educate your children, do it yourself. Because you cannot do this. And Zahawi went on, no school should be encouraging young people to pin their colours to a particular political mask. That's all schools do now. That's all they do. Anyway, I'm going to come up and finish this off. I would say you couldn't make it up, but actually you can. And they do. But they do it for a reason. They want to sow dissent. They want to sow division. They want races to hate each other. They want people to hate each other. And that is why they do this. But most people don't listen to it. It's a load of old rubbish. But they have to, because they are extremists. They are powerless. They should never have been given public money. But they are effectively powerless because no one within their right mind would ever vote for this rubbish. They know they will never get a power base by democracy. So they have to be insidious and sneaky and hang around children a lot. And that is why they need to be on a register. And anyone on the extreme left should be on a child protection register to protect children. Extremism is on either side, on any, it doesn't matter what the choice is, whatever the struggle between, where there is a division, there is common ground. But where there is extremism, there can never be common ground. And anyone who's any form of extremist needs to be on a register and kept well away from children. But it's always socialists. Anyway, if you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notification of future outputs. Leave a like. Leave a comment. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Goodbye.